All good.
Yep.
Where is it? Where did it go? Maybe one of these. Let's make a new one. Duplicate. Just gonna bring up chat real quick. Where'd chat go hiding? Here we go. Yeah, feeling a bit better, man. Thank you. So I'll just go really quickly just before we cover XTZ. I'm just talking in the chat about how to use more charts out of TradingView if you've got one of the lower paid versions. What you can do is come up to your panels up here, and you can go right click and duplicate. What that does is creates an exact replica of this web page here, right? So then you can use this one on, say, Doge, and then use the same one again, but go to a completely different chart, and they won't override each other as long as they're different tickers. So if you have a limited chart, so you're suffering from limited charts, just duplicate your other charts. It's going to make sure you're using a different ticker to what the main one is. And that discount works. So as I mentioned in the earlier series, ask for a 50% discount, and they'll give it to you. One of the guys just mentioned just before they got that discount. So fantastic. We'll have a quick look at XTZ, USDT. All right, I'll clean this up and we'll start from scratch. This is the weekly view, okay? So just bear with us. Right, we've got an ascending in nature, higher lows, the easiest way to look at that without giving it a name. And then you can see across here, right, just using the weekly level is a clear level, horizontal, right? And we've also got this level under here, need to be concerned of, okay? So we can then go down to the daily. And now we've got our levels drawn out for our daily, right? So we can see where resistance is. And now we've got the daily close above here. We're getting some upside action today, especially after that massive pin bar here that swept the lows and was brought straight back up. So looking at this from a massive ascending point of view, okay? Then in triangle point of view, what we covered in last week's episode, the recipe for the 84%, we're going to overlay it here on the daily, and we're going to go through the checklist real quick, all right? So we're above the 20 MA, we're above the 30 VWMA. We've got a bullish TK cross all the way back here, right? We're about to be above the green cloud, and this is above price, okay? Above 50, between 70, good. Above 50, between 70, same again, buy signal, orange on top. We've now got a perfect recipe as long as we're still above the green cloud on the 8th of August here. All right, so if we can maybe come back into a pullback, I think it's a go time from there. All right, so massive, massive trade coming up if this plays out bullish. And as we can see, this flag has been building since the start of the year, right? So if you guys have seen what Link did when it went to its price discovery, which we'll go have a quick squiz at, and we'll just get rid of the drawing line, and we'll just take that same approach, right? So we have ascending in nature to the point where we break out, just a rough trend line there. And then maybe from about here, right? So gets to a point where it just breaks out and goes bananas, and still going bananas, right? It's up about 104% from that same setup, right? All the indicators are the same pattern back here. Once it reclaimed, it's been go time since. So I haven't actually traded that. That's not a trade I've taken, just FYI. But looking very strong here, which is, I think, what this chart is about to go and replicate. So I've got exposure to this. I do have exposure now to this. I've brought it on FTX. I've got the 3 times token instead of a futures trade on Binance, which is the exposure I'd usually have. So I've gone with FTX this time, and I have the 3 times bull tokens. So I'm gonna let that run, maybe till the end of the month or the end of the year even. Depends how this plays, and maybe that $5 grand can become 50 or something. That'd be nice.
Looking
Just
good.
looking very strong here.
And show them the ETFs after as well, Troy, like the multiples, the 3x and stuff like that.
Yep.
We do have Sam. He has managed to join the group, and we've promoted him to panelist, so he will be able to speak now. So everybody that's tuning in, Sam is the founder and CEO of FTX Exchange. So obviously, we've all been looking at it over the last couple of weeks. So welcome to the webinar, Sam. Thanks for being able to join us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
No
Yeah,
worries.
Sam.
Everyone's excited to hear from you, mate.
Yeah, I don't know, excited to be here. Thanks for having me on, and thanks for all the support.
No
Um,
worries.
so yeah, I'm the CEO and founder of Alameda Research and FTX, and then recently have also been working on Project Serum, and uh, just excited to talk with you guys about whatever you guys want to talk about. Happy just to give, a little background on myself and the platforms and Project Serum, or to, answer any questions or dive into any bits of it that you guys have questions about. So
Yeah, awesome for sure. I think a lot of the guys probably would be a little bit interested to hear maybe 1 or 2 minutes just on your background. Obviously everybody's a trader, so they love hearing about people's stories about becoming a trader. I'm always really interested in that sort of stuff. What got you
yeah,
into trading? Which firms you went and worked for? How do you start up your fund, and then obviously moved into the exchange? I'd love to hear a little bit about that.
yeah. So I went to MIT after college. I went to work at Jane Street Capital where I traded international ETFs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I worked there for about 3 years doing arbitrage market making, OTC trading, um, and sort of other related stuff, and basically went there sort of from a context of how can I sort of have the most impact in the world, and sort of that came out as well. Um, I'd if I sort of go to Jane Street, I can basically be able to give away a lot of money, and that would be sort of the way that I could impact the world the most. And so I worked there for about 3 years, um, and then in 2017 I left Jane Street and started up Alameda Research, which is a crypto quant trading firm, and basically does sort of arbitrage, liquidity fighting, OTC trading, statistical strategies, and a bunch of other related stuff in the crypto space. And sort of at the beginning, that was sort of a lot of big arbitrages that sort of existed back a few years ago. There was sort of the week where Litecoin was trading 5% rich on Coinbase,
Yeah.
for a whole week. There's a month where Japanese Bitcoins were trading, 10% higher than American Bitcoins.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and basically, it was sort of building out all of the systems and infrastructure and entities and accounts and stuff to be able to do those trades. And so it was sort of a mad dash of, everything from sort of building trading strategies to getting international bank accounts and creating entities and stuff like that. Um, and so, built that up, that operation up over the last few years. Alameda now trades, something like $1 billion a day globally, split across,
Not
basically
bad.
all of the major exchanges.
Nice. And you guys have been on the leaderboard of BitMEX for a while. I know that's one of the claim to fame that a lot of the guys
Yep,
in the group would have seen when a lot of us used to trade on BitMEX before coming across to FTX.
yep. I have a few accounts up there. Um, so and yeah, that was sort of like how Alameda got started, and over time its trading has morphed to become less sort of like giant pure arbitrages because those are just less common,
Mm-hmm.
um, and so it's less like less dominated by the 10% arbs, and instead a lot larger volume, smaller trade, smaller sort of edges, and sort of generally finding liquidity everywhere and seeing places where where there's some market inefficiency, where there isn't enough liquidity being provided, and that's causing price slippage, and basically coming in there and filling that up.
Yeah, okay.
Um, so yeah, that's sort of the core of Alameda's business, and then a few years ago moved out to Hong Kong and basically felt like there's sort of a pretty big opening in the derivatives exchange space,
Mm-hmm.
and that there's sort of an opportunity to really uh, uh, to really build a product that fixed a lot of the frustrating things about the existing exchanges there. And so I started building out FTX in late 2018, early 2019, and went live with that in spring of last year.
Nice, love it. Well, everyone's really enjoying being on the exchange, and me and Troy especially are big fans of everything you guys are doing. And I feel like a lot of cryptocurrency exchanges, they're a little bit different to traditional exchanges like IG Markets or CMC or something like that. You don't really have like all the ETFs and things, and there's limited products that you can use and markets you can trade. But there wasn't like no one had a volatility index or anything like that. And then you guys sort of came along, and I started hearing about all like these crazy different markets, and you could long Donald Trump, and there was
Yep.
like a shitcoin index, and I'm like, what the hell is this exchange? And obviously, guys got
Yeah.
bigger and bigger, and then Alex introduced us to the exchange, and when we finally actually got to see it, me and Troy we were actually surprised. It was a lot better than what we were expecting, and yeah, we've been really happy to be partnered with you guys. Like we've only obviously been really hands-on for the last month, but it's been really good so far, and you guys have been really responsive to any of the users' needs or any of the guys in the team's needs that needed help with any of their accounts or anything like that. So everyone's really happy so far.
Thanks. It's been a lot of work, but it's been exciting, and a lot of tinkering, a lot of sort of adding little doohickeys here and there, and just trying to make it the best experience we can.
Nice, love
That's
it.
awesome.
And so you guys are working on a new project at the moment. I mean, me and Troy have been told a little bit about it. These guys haven't been told anything about it, but it's an exciting new project in the DeFi space. And yeah, I'd love to hear a little bit about it. I'm sure the guys are pretty pumped to hear about what you guys are moving into next.
Yeah, so the next project that we're working on is called Project Serum, and it's a decentralized ecosystem. And basically sort of the genesis of that, bears some resemblance to what we felt like when we were launching FTX, which is there's a lot of problems in this space. There's a lot of improvements that can be made, and you look at sort of most of the decentralized trading venues, which have like take a few minutes to do a trade. It costs like $1 in gas, and there's no limit orders, and that's pretty restrictive. And so what we did basically is we're building a fully on-chain, 100% decentralized exchange and trading ecosystem, but one that's fast enough to be able to handle sort of trading like a normal centralized exchange will. And so it's built on Solana, which is a super fast blockchain. You can handle hundreds of orders per second. You'll have full trade confirmations and everything within a second or two. And the price to send an order in terms of the equivalent of gas, instead of being like 10 cents to a few dollars, it's like 1/100th of a penny. And so it really unlocked sort of trading on a DEX the way that you like trading on a centralized exchange. And we're also building out a bunch of cross-chain bridges, so that even though it's natively on Solana, you can access it from whatever chain you want, including Ethereum.
Uh-oh, did we just lose Sam?
I think I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh
Yeah, all good, all good.
All good. I mean, yeah, I mean, it sounds great. I think obviously, there's holes in the current system in the DeFi space, and obviously, when there's a better platform, people are going to, better method, people are going to start utilizing that. So, what does it mean for these guys? How do they get involved in something like that? And are you guys going to be running an IEO for the token that's going to support the platform? What's the plan?
Yeah, so we are. It's the SRM token, and we're going to be running an IEO this Friday on FTX and BitMax, and it's going to be listing globally on a bunch of exchanges next Tuesday.
Nice. Wow, that's pretty cool. So, guys are going to be able to get involved. Did you say this Friday, US time?
Yep. It's this Friday, Hong Kong hours. So, or sort of evening Hong Kong, or morning Eastern, and yeah, we'd love to have you guys participating in that.
Nice. So this is something me and Troy were told maybe like 2 weeks ago, and it both got us pretty excited. And so we wanted to get Sam on to talk to you guys about this, because we think it's going to be something we definitely going to be putting some of our money into. and getting some tokens because even with such a fast turnaround like that, I mean, I've been involved in raising capital for ICOs back in 2017, 2018, and the biggest risk was you're waiting 6 months to a year sometimes for the whole process to go through, and the major risk is that the project just doesn't happen, right? But I mean, we
Yep.
know that these guys are going to get the project done, so that's why I'm so excited about this, and obviously it's such a cool space that it's working in. And I think it's definitely a trade that I definitely want exposure to. I know Troy wants exposure to as well. So how are the guys going to be able to get involved with that? Is it just like through the FTX platform, or how's it work?
Yep. You'll just go to ftx.com at the time, and you'll be able to to put some tickets into the IEO. And then BitMax is an hour later, and I'll send you guys a link right now to a page that has just in the chat here, that has a kind of description of the format of it.
Okay, cool.
And to answer just one of the questions, a few of the questions in the chat here, we're going to be so IO will happen Friday, and then as soon as the token lists on Tuesday, everything from the IO will be fully unlocked and transferable. And we'll have sort of natively, it's a Solana-based token, just an SPL, but we'll also have an ERC20 wrapper on it for places that only take that.
Okay.
So yeah.
Very cool, very cool. And so I'm sure a couple of guys we've got a lot of people in here that are really interested in fundamentals. Some people are only really interested in technical trading and stuff like that. Especially a lot of the guys in the Nuggets News group, they're more fundamentals focused, and some of the guys in from my and Troy's Discord groups are probably more technical based. But I'm sure a few people want to know a little bit more about the Serum or SRM token and how exactly it works, and is there anything to do with staking and stuff like that that they might be interested in?
Absolutely, and I will also just paste in the chat here a link to a few pieces of information about it.
Sure.
Here, one of these here, I'm just gonna have an overview of the Serum token, and then the other one, sort of an overview of how staking works on it.
Nice.
But yeah, there's gonna be staking. You're gonna be able to get yield from that. You can sort of choose which node you stake to. Different nodes will have different settings, and nodes will also be in charge of voting on a bunch of the parameters of the Serum ecosystem, and sort of performing valuable functions in terms of basically upkeep of the exchange, making it run smoothly, and sort of just optimizing the performance. And so and for that they'll sort of be compensated with returns there. So there's a staking model. You can stake, you'll be able to stake from the FTX wallet or from your kind of personal wallet. And we'll have more pages related to that coming out soon, but super excited for that.
Yeah, nice. Sounds good. So yeah, Troy, is there anything that you want to ask regarding all this?
In regards to Serum, no. Following. I'm just following. I'm eager to invest.
Troy's just in it for the gains.
I'm in it for the gains, man. I don't care about percentages.
Seems like some of the guys in the chat are pretty pumped for it as well. What time exactly will it be released?
Yeah, so the IEO is going to be at 9 p.m. Hong Kong time this Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And then official listing time hasn't been set. It's going to be sometime Tuesday. Yes, it's going to be around a similar time then.
Okay, awesome. Sounds good. Any questions from you guys in the chat group? We'll open it up for you if anyone wants to ask a question or two. How long does KYC take?
KYC, it's generally KYC takes about a day. We're going to be sort of working overtime as we head into this, but you should get your KYC in at least 24 hours in advance if you want to be able to participate.
Yep. So you will have to be KYC to be able to participate.
Yep, that's right. Obviously, the DEX itself is sort of decentralized, and there's no central authority to do that. But for the IEO, you will have to be KYC'd on FTX. Yep.
Do you have to hold FTT tokens to buy SRM?
So and once it lists, it'll just be listed on markets like anything else. For the IEO, you'll get preference in the auction if you do pay with some FTT tokens. And so, if it does end up selling out, which I think it very well might, then the people who end up buying it will end up being people who submitted some FTT. So
Sweet. So basically buy some FTT first, and then use that to buy your SRM.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Pretty straightforward.
The link's a little bit further up, Neil, in the chat. We can grab them and repost them.
Yeah, I'll repost everywhere as well.
Yeah, if you could share those in Discord, Troy, that would be awesome.
Yep.
And yeah, we'll do like a little video about this as well for the YouTube channel. We'll post that up in the Discords also. But I'm really keen to break this all down and go through the links that you just posted to it. It looks cool. I like the logo. A lot of those have some terrible logos. So this one's actually really cool.
Thanks.
All right.
Cool.
Any other questions for Sam, guys? Do you guys want to know anything other, not about Serum or any trading questions or anything like that? This guy's pretty much a genius, so now's your chance.
When Moon, ultimately, eh?
What's your current view on the market, Sam?
Oh boy, I mean, it's been so frothy. Like, there's been so much demand recently, especially for DeFi and for shitcoins, and we'll see how long it keeps up, but it's been quite the run.
Yeah, pretty impressive so far.
Love it. Very good, very good. How high is FTT going to go in the next 2 months?
I can't give investment advice. I'll let you guys make the call on that one.
We'll make those calls. Don't worry about that.
Don't short FTX.
Some guys are saying they love the shit index on FTX. Trading.
Oh yeah, that one's cool.
So smart approach, very smart approach, very progressive. First people in the space to actually take initiative and create demand for products that are unique like that. Very cool.
Thanks.
Everyone else is just a copy and paste exchange. FTX is the first to actually be different, and that's why it's the first exchange I've actually said yes to being a part of. I've had all of them harass me for throwing money at me and the rest of it, but they're just copy and paste exchanges, so no interest. But this is awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah, really cool. I'd love to hear a little bit more about the Move contract. We covered it earlier on in this course, and I might touch on it a little bit later tonight if we've got a little bit of time, just to answer a few of the questions that some of the guys had post that last session. But a lot of the guys have been really interested in trading it a fair bit, so I'd love to hear a little bit more about how you guys made the decision to put that on as a market and some of the the interior workings of it.
This is of the shit index, you said?
Move.
No,
Move. Oh God, sorry, missed a word there. Yeah, no, super excited about Move. I think it's a really cute product, and I think the cool thing about it is it sort of fills two functions. On the one hand, it's super intuitive to understand. Like, sort of everyone knows, like, what is it? It's how much Bitcoin moves tomorrow. That's what it is, and you can sort of reason about it. You can understand what it means. It's not like some weird, wacky formula where you're like, oh God, you take the square root of this thing and you do over this time period, and and by the end you're like, I have no idea what this thing's worth. Like, it's just a super sort of clean concept. But on the other hand, it's also just proportional to exactly what people mean by volatility.
Mm-hmm.
And so because of this, it means that it's on the one hand easy to think intuitively about, but also it's a really nice hedge for volatility exposure. So if you have an options position and you want to hedge it, or if you want to put on a delta in volatility, it's a really pure way of doing that as well. Yeah,
nice. Love it. Now, we've been trading a fair bit. It's been really fun, especially the first couple of weeks of the month when Bitcoin wasn't doing much. It's pretty much free money just shorting Move.
Yep.
It was great.
Are you planning on bringing a Move contract in for Ethereum?
Yeah, it's definitely on the roadmap.
Fantastic.
It's something we'd hope to have out by now. In the answer, we've had a pretty busy month, but it'll happen.
Awesome, fantastic.
Nice, very cool. Any other crazy ideas or crazy markets you've got in the mix that we're allowed to know about yet, or?
I think the next batch of things that you're going to see are going to be Serum markets. Either SRM markets on FTX or sort of markets on the Serum DEX. And so, I think the first ones are not going to be too crazy. They're going to be fairly straightforward things. But, the crazy thing about them is just going to be that they're going to be fully on chain. So.
Love it, love it. And so when we've got a whole heap of Serum and we're staking it, how exactly does that return capital to us? Do we get paid out of the fees that the exchange is making, or how's that?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So there's sort of a few different pieces to this, and but basically, one piece is that there's a fraction of the exchange fees are going to go directly to stakers. Currently, that's set at 10%. Although nodes can vote to change that if they want, nodes just being the stakers themselves. The rest of the fees are also going to go back to token holders via buy and burn. So it's just a trade-off of what form they come in. But either way, sort of this, the Serum token holders have a claim on the entire sort of the entire upside of the product.
Nice.
And so that's sort of thing one. And then in addition to that, there's going to be basically airdropped yield on Serum stakers, sort of a low base level rate for everyone who's staking. And then a higher rate if your node is sort of good at performing its duties. And you can stake to whatever node you want, whichever node you're sort of most excited about. And those are going to basically generate yield by performing duties. And sort of to give a flavor of one of these, whenever there's a cross-chain transaction, so someone tries to move, Ethereum tokens over to Solana, basically people have to go submit a bunch of, blockchain histories to various smart contracts in order to get the Solana node, the Solana smart contracts and the Ethereum smart contracts to talk to each other, and that's one of the duties of the nodes there that they're going to be filling, and they're going to be compensated, based on how well they do that as well. And so, that's going to sort of add to it. And then one other thing we have is that each node leader, so whoever, founds the node, gets sort of a bonus amount also sort of related to how big they can grow their node to be. And so we really want to encourage people to, run active nodes and to get, a lot of people to stake with them. And they get something for growing it big, and their community gets something for them doing a good job with it. So
yeah, nice.
That's
So would it
awesome.
be a good idea for us to all team up and join a node together? Is that how it works?
I mean, that's I'll leave it to you guys, but there's certainly an incentive for that.
Yeah, okay, nice. Cool, cool. I mean, that's something we can look into, guys. Obviously, we'll talk about that later on in the Discords and stuff like that. I mean, like the fundamentals of this stuff isn't really my area. I just like drawing lines on the charts and guessing which way it's going to go. But I'm sure some of the guys that are a bit more tech heavy will be able to help us out with that one. And hopefully we can get something happening. It sounds like such a cool project, and I think we're pretty excited to be involved. I'll probably throw it out one more last time, guys, because we need to let Sam go and ask him into a little bit more content for last one or two questions. Is there a limited supply of SRM?
There is. So there's 10 billion tokens, and no more will ever be minted. Some will be burned via the buy and burns. Maybe many of them, but there's never going to be any more minted.
Okay, and so will all of those be released on Friday?
No. So there's a pretty long lockup. So 90% of all the tokens in the world of all the Serum tokens have a 1 to 7 year lockup on them.
Okay.
Meaning that they none of them unlock for the first year, and then after that they unlock sort of linearly day by day over the 6 years after that. And so we're really sort of controlling the rate that that these are released into the ecosystem to make sure that sort of the market isn't sort of flooded with them.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. Nice. So there's only going to be. Did you say 10? Is it be 10% of the tokens will be released in the IAO or?
No, so 10% will be unlocked, substantially fewer than that are actually going to be released in the IU or actually going to be circulating or sold anytime soon.
Okay.
But 90% of them won't even be sort of allowed to be released for, for years.
Nice, nice. And so how much will one token cost in a US dollar value?
Yep, so it's the IEO price is going to be around 10 to 11 cents.
Yep.
And, we'll sort of see after that what the market decides.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. Nice. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not exactly sure, but I'm guessing it's probably going to land on market a little bit higher.
Yeah, can't
and
promise anything, but yeah, it seems like a pretty reasonable guess.
yeah, yeah, and it's not like a huge gap in between the IEO and when the launch is either. So we're not going to be expecting it to land and be like $4 or something like that.
Oh, that'd be pretty. I mean, be pretty happy, but that'd be pretty weird. I would, if it gets to $4, I would not investment advice, but I think $4 on Tuesday selling might be a good idea.
Cheers for the heads up.
For sure. I mean, I think we'll probably expect some sort of gains from it.
Yeah.
And see how that plays out. But I think it's definitely one that we want to be holding, and not just in it for the quick flip, selling instantly either. And obviously looking at getting some consistent gains from staking and stuff like that. Is if you do take on the staking process, is it locked up for a certain amount of time, or can you release those coins? And are they liquid, or how's that work?
So if you do start staking, I think there's like a 1 week sort of cooldown period when you stop staking before they're unlocked, just so people aren't sort of like flickering staking, place an order, cancel the order, stake with it, cancel it, place an offer. But yeah, so I think there's a 1 week cooldown period after staking.
Yeah, okay, cool. Sounds pretty good. Troy, any questions, mate?
Silver. Are you bringing silver onto the exchange at all? Like you've got
We've
gold
talked about it a lot.
Yep.
It's probably the one of the biggest things is just getting like cost-effective creations and redemptions. We've been searching for a provider of it who can do it cheaply. For gold, it's sort of like less than 1% to convert, and for silver, being quoted like 5% or something. But I think we'd be excited to bring a silver token if we can find one that's sort of economically efficient.
Yep, makes sense. And the second question would be IOTA. Any plans to list them anytime soon?
It's on the list. I no promises there,
Yeah.
but it's sort of on that list of coins that we're considering. So
fantastic. All right, I think that's pretty much it.
All right.
Very good. All right. Me and Troy definitely going to be grabbing a couple of bags, that's for sure. Hopefully it doesn't sell out. So I'll be buying some extra FTT to load up, and hopefully we'll be able to get in early. So,
awesome.
Yeah. Cheers. Thanks a lot for jumping on, mate. And
thank you.
And we'll chat to you soon.
See you guys soon.
See you, mate. Have a good one. All right, guys. So we'll keep moving forward. And Troy content, we're going to start off with just going over a previous wrap up of the last few days and what we've been over. So did you want to take over from here, Troy?
Yes, we does. Yeah, we'll get into it.
Yeah.
All right, I'll share my screen. Cool. Assuming you guys can see that. I'll just bring out the chat again because it always hides. Good old Zoom.
Yep, looks good. Loud and clear.
Just trying to find the chat again. Zoom's a pain in the ass. Q&A's up, chat's up. Cool. All right, we'll get stuck into it, guys. Day 5. So we've got Sam come on. Bit of explanations, bit of an introduction. Pretty cool. The guy's super rich, super smart. Moving forward, we're going to get onto the day 5 of content. Today we're going to be logging trades. Okay. As you guys asked in one of the earlier videos, which ones me and Kyle use, I use the Trader Travis's journal, which I'll give you a bit of a rundown on. There's no kickback on it, so just contact him by either going to this link, which I'll give you guys access to this spreadsheet soon, sorry, the Google form soon, or you can just find him on Facebook. He's in all of our groups. Fantastic guy. I'll run you through his, and then I've got a trading guide I'm going to give you guys, which is pretty much an all-in-one kind of massive written document. It's huge. It pretty much covers everything in detail, right? So this will be a bit of a write-up to take away as well from the last 5 sessions. It'll help bring it all together, and we've got some slides to be able to do that over here as well. You also get a technical analysis, trading strategy, execution log process. So we go from start to finish as well. So just so we can get it into your minds that this is how you should approach the market. All right, so it becomes more of a religious routine more than just to jump on, get FOMO, 100 times long, this breakout, lose your money, smash your keyboard, and then blah, 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 right? You need to have an approach, turn it into a business. If you treat it like a hobby, it'll only ever be a hobby, and you probably won't become profitable. So you got to really narrow down, work out your faults, find out what you're good at, and then start capitalizing on that. Right. So just a quick wrap up of the previous days. Everyone should be somewhat comfortable with FTX by now and TradingView. There's an hour-long video of TradingView as well on my YouTube. You can grab if you haven't already got the link for that, just to get your way around it for some of the slower people. Slow isn't bad as long as you put a step in front of the other. You're making progress, right? So all good. You can take as long as you need to catch up on TradingView if you're still having a hard time with it. We've covered risk management techniques, stop loss placement, position sizing formula. Right, this is going to be what changes your game completely. So make sure you get your head around this and actually use this in every trade. And if it says use $10 because your account size is smaller than you'd like, just do it. Get 50 trades in a row using this formula, right? So you've got the self-discipline from that point onwards. You've got the habits, the good habits in place to then, when you do increase your account size, you don't start losing it all quickly because you're not being a degenerate, right? This is the stuff that makes a rookie trader and a professional trader, shows the difference between them right at the end game. So when you do have a loss for a few losses in a row, it shouldn't hurt your account, right? Technical analysis versus trading strategy, right? A lot of people out there don't know the difference. So it's going to really smack that into your heads that technical analysis, drawing lines on a chart, is more of just a map of the market, more of just a forecast, where the trading strategy is when you actually execute a specific set of criteria to allow you to take a trade, which usually has a stop loss and a target as well. All right. Backward and forward testing, data doesn't lie, right? So log all your data moving forward. The more the merrier, right? Any data you can think of, just log it. And I'll show you Trader Travis's journal and how much he's logging and how much I now log because of that. Future trades, that's forward testing. So if you do implement a trading strategy, make sure you log it because over 20 trades, you want to know over an average, is it actually that good, right? So you need to be able to audit this data. And moving on, FTX's unique move contracts and other unique pairs. Carl covered that pretty in depth, which is fantastic. Move has been a pretty exciting one. If you guys remember the 17,000% wins, pretty monumental. So we'll just move straight into a daily approach of the market. So technical analysis comes first, and that's the forecast, right? That's the mapping out the levels and the rest of it. So you start on the weekly time frame, move into the daily time frame, and then go to your 4-hour time frame, usually based on how you trade, which should end up looking something like this as a technical analysis point of view. You've just marked key levels to watch before you go into your intraday time frame, if that's what you're doing, or based on your time frame, right? So we'll keep it simple, keep moving forward. Trading strategy, this is the different part. This is where you actually got your checklist-based approach. Like we covered on Thursday, you had to have a bunch of different ticks before you're allowed to take a trade, right? So that's an example. Once you've got all of these ticked, can you then take the trade, okay? Which is when you then go and execute the trade on an exchange. So we were just looking at XTZ, USDT. The chart looks very messy here on the daily, but it's ticking all our boxes, right? So in a couple of days, we'll be above the green cloud, and hopefully this will be above price, and that's a 84% chance of winning from that point onwards, right? And with this market looking very bullish as it is at the moment, I think this is a no-brainer. Just be careful for some throwbacks, just like this massive candle we had over the weekend. But that could be the very last point of supply grab before we head up. So this XTZ trade is looking amazing on the daily. Keep in mind that is a daily. This has been building, what are we in August? So 6-7 months now. So it might not break out overnight and go straight to $8 overnight. It may take us another month or two to get there. So don't stress. Use a measured move. The furthest point within the chart usually. You can be a little bit safe and maybe come down to about here. And make sure we're on linear when we do this. And then just drag that to the upside. Another smart way to do your fibs, right, or pivots. Fibs and pivots are great for price discovery. If you're not using those, definitely recommend checking those out. Cool. I've got the bull token and I've had it for a little bit. It hasn't had no decay. It's looking good for me. So I don't know about the decay in that. But the chart is getting very bullish, so there's a possibility. Do you treat order blocks on the down different to order blocks on the up? They're just horizontal levels of support and resistance. If you're under it, they're resistance. If you're above it, they're support. That's the only way I'd look at order blocks. There's no difference between up, down, left, right. Right, they're just a single horizontal level, which is easy to identify based off a certain candle close, right? So there's a BTC chart here. So for instance, that order block here, all that is level of resistance until we're above it, and then it becomes support. Just the SR level, real easy. Don't want to overcomplicate those. Yeah, so it's just a candle in the opposite direction that gets retested sooner or later, right? So I've just color coded these myself. Green support, blue's neutral, and red's resistance. Right, we'll just, sweet, cool. We'll go back to the slide. Right, so that's a trading strategy, which is what we've covered, and XTZ is looking fantastic. So I hope everyone can take a safe entry in this trade, maybe over the next few days. Maybe a stop loss down below these wicks, or if you want to be super safe and cautious, down below here. Looks like it's going to be a nice burst to the upside though soon. How long will these permanently, dude? Permanently, Luke? Can someone let Warren know that someone is talking? And he must have his speaker issues. So trading strategy looks like this, right? So we got all these tick boxes, we tick them all, and then price goes up, which is really simple. So trading strategy is different to technical analysis. And then we want to go to logging the data. There's no one else talking, Warren, just me, mate. So we want to then log the data, which I'll go to the journal now and show you, okay? So I've got Trader Travis's journal here, and I'm just showing you guys a fresh layout of it, okay? So usually it has his logo here. I've just changed it to my own little philosopher that I follow. Just reminds me to keep my ego out of the play, right? In trading, the ego can get you hurt. So cool. So what you can do on this is it actually tells you a lot of information just by entering the fields. This is Arthur Schopenhauer. He's a real pessimist. Really good, really interesting character. A lot of the major philosophers actually use his material, but he's never mentioned. Anyway, so what you can do is you can set up your own journal if you're good on Excel. I'm personally crap at Excel, so I've gone and got Travis's one. But how he set it up is you fill out all this information, and then by the end of it, you end up getting these awesome results on pages, which ends up telling you which day of the week you're best at, which time frame you're best at. It gives you all your data, right? And it's just all you have to do is make sure you fill this out correctly, which I'll just go through now and I'll show you an example, right? So out of all the exchanges that you trade on, you enter them in here, or you can just choose your own new one. For this case, we've got FTX already there, so we'll choose FTX. Then you want to have your base coin, right? So we're going to be trading, let's say, the FTT token against USD, all right? So we can just choose that in here, and then move across. What's our strategy? So I know FTT just broke out of a very large ascending triangle. So for me, AT is my ascending triangle, okay? So I choose my AT strategy. Emotions at the time, I'm going to feel confident because the data says that the ascending triangle should play out exactly as we said, right? So you can choose your emotion. Over time, if you actually use this honestly, and because it's in the private of your own use, no one else is going to judge you for it. If you use this honestly, you'll find out some interesting information about yourself, I think, over a period of time. So because there's a trading journal is very private, make sure you're honest on it. Don't lie to yourself, right? News, FTT, and what was the recent release they had? Right, Solana. Come back to here. So we could say Solana because that launched price, right? And we saw a massive breakout of the ascending triangle. Time frame, it was a very large one. We'll go 4 hour. And then you can choose all your tools that helps you come up to the conclusion of that trade, right? So even though the strategy is the ascending triangle, maybe we only used some of the indicators, or maybe we used all of them. And you can also choose your own combinations here as well. You can create whatever you wanted. For me, we're going to go say Ichimoku, Pixel and Ocean, my custom indicators. go ahead and add our own, say 30 VWMA, just add that in if we were allowing ourselves to enter. But for instance, we'll say it came off of major fib, because that's one of our prerequisites. Bullish flag, which is an ascending triangle, and maybe the RSI is good to go. No. Let's go 200 EMA, just so we can just carry on for now. All right, so then you choose your risk appetite. So that formula we covered back on the up here, this formula is already applied into the journal here for you as well. Okay, so you choose your risk amount. We'll go and have a look at the FTT token so we can do this live. FTT, USDT, Doge looks like it's going to break out this week, by the way. Not financial advice. FTT, what am I doing here? FTT, sorry guys, one moment. USDT, we'll go, there we go. Cool. So they had a very large ascending triangle here, right? Very big one formed. Perfect, beautiful flag, and then nice fundamentals come out at the end of it. Exactly what you want to see. Right, so there's our ascending triangle. We're going to throw that trading strategy on, and we can work out where our stops and entries and the rest are. So what we're doing is going through the entire process, right? So identifying, we've got the flag, we're above all, so entry candle will be here, right? So we use the long tool, long position, stop loss below the low or the second low, so we're going down here for this, right? And our target can be, say, the measured move here, for just example's sake. So the point of break, measured move, we'll say we're going to take profit up here. So if this hits profit, if this hits our target, which it probably will, right? It's going to be quite a nice trade. So we can then go put that data into our journal. So stop loss price, we'll come back, FTT. Well done, Luke. Beautiful trade then, mate. Well done. So we've got here 2756, our stop loss. 2.756, I think I remembered that right. Short-term memory is not a thing for me. We're on the wrong chart. 756. All right, wrong one again. Here we go, 756. Cool. Entry price. Okay, so we go back to our entry price. We're going to get in on this candle open. So we'll just go ahead and I think that's already marked it, I believe, over here. Just going to use this anyway. Don't usually use this tool for my trading. So 3.00, 3.045. One moment. Come back to here. 3.045. All right, TP price. That's our target one. That's where we're taking profit. So we go and find that up here. And we're just going to use the horizontal ray tool, the one I mentioned that actually marks on the right. So we'll take it at $4, a round number. All right, 4.0. Cool. So it's worked out. It's a long because the entry price and the target and the rest of it. It's telling us our position size. We're allowed to use, say, $21. All right. So we move over to the right. We can choose the day of the week over here. So these automatically fill. The highlighted boxes automatically fill in this one. And then we just go and choose our day or time. So we can go say maybe back in time because of where the break was. All right, we'll try and keep this somewhat. 26th of July. Go back to here. Where are we? July 26th. There we go. All right. So it's going to average entry price. So if you market brought or you had multiple entries, and you can come and fill that information in here. But we use limit and we let it get filled. So we'll do that. And then we're also going to write how much are we putting into this trade, right? The amount. So let's say 50,000. All right. Come over to the right. And then you've got your entry notes. So say, for instance, you're someone who experiences FOMO, okay? And that you end up market buying because you think the price is running away from you, right? So you entered too early or you FOMO entered. You can record this data. Now, I can yell and scream at you and say you should be market buying, but if after 20 trades it says when you FOMO buy you actually end up well in profit, then who's to stop you from FOMO buying, right? Let the data tell you you're allowed to FOMO buy. So we'll just say FOMO for fun. So what you do as well on this particular journal setup, you get a print screen. So you get all your data, make it look pretty, come up here and press this camera button. You get a nice little URL here, right? Which is the link. We go and copy that, and then we go and paste it here. We'll end up with the print screen of what we're seeing, okay? So we can go back to our journal, throw that in here, and then we've got a permanent record keeping of that exact moment in the market, right? Yeah, that's right, Chris. And then you got trade management. So if you're someone who manipulates your trades after it starts, then you can start writing that in here, all right? If you did not touch it, that's usually what you want to do. But if your trading strategy allows you for doing something, then maybe add that into your list here. Or if you're doing things emotionally, then record that so you can actually get on top of this, right? Kyle will touch another form of logging soon as well, which is really narrows down on this. Definitely worth touching on if you're someone who does muck your trades up. You've got to take you got to get some self-discipline, right? You've got to audit yourself. Exit date time, so when you got out of the trade, let's say we got out today, average exit price, just in case you averaged out or you market sold, right? So we'll say average price we got out at 4, right? And the amount we got out the entire amount. Exit notes, we didn't get liquidated, right? This is not the China ban Bitcoin one. So we'll say hit TP. And then once the trade's finished, you come and put the result in here, right? And then what it does give you is results at the end, okay? So it's telling you, once you start building this information up, it starts telling you where you're good at trading, right? What day of the week you're good at trading on, what time of the frame you're trading on, which of your trading technical analysis methods work the best, which coin you're best at trading at, right? If you had a good week or a bad week, all this information comes together and starts to help you, right? So if you start having 10 trades and they all were listed under FOMO, but they were all profitable, then get FOMO, right? You can access this journal, you guys, but you've got to go through Trader Travis. So he's in most of our groups. You can also make your own. For me, I'd rather pay someone else to do the hard work like this for me because I am not very good at this Excel stuff. And then results by your strategy as well. All right. So 2 out of 2 trades were profitable. This is just a test run dummy thing, right? It tells you your R, right? Average price gain. This is how I believe you evolve as a trader. If you're not doing this, you probably give back most of what you earn, right? Definitely get into some form of journaling or logging. It'll change your game completely because it'll take you out of that hobby mindset when you sit down and want to trade and you go and do your 100 times trade and lose your amount and then go to bed. This will change your mindset from the hobby to the professional trader, all right? Because you've got to hold yourself accountable, right? If China bans Bitcoin, your trade goes sour, so be it, right? And then you make sure you log it. And then your trading strategies will tell you over time whether it's a profitable approach to the market or not. All right, so that's what logging is. Highly recommend, at least if you do make your own, keep as many of these fields as you can, right? Especially the snapshot entry and exit. The journal I think you've got to acquire it through Trader Travis. I'll get a link out to you guys if you want this particular one, but there's a lot out there, and Travis will probably tell you himself to go and make it yourself and don't be lazy. But if you must have this one, he'll take. I'm pretty sure he'll take payment for it. I might be able to find a quick link on another screen for you if you do want it. I'm not shilling. There's no kickback for us on this one, guys. So this is just a recommendation because that's what we personally use, or what I personally use. I'm just gonna get his Facebook address really quick. Here we go. Getting that. Sorry. Here we go. So I'll just throw this in the chat now, and we'll also get it out in the email as well. Cool. Just put the link out, guys. That's his Facebook group. Join his group. Harass him. His name is Travis Dobbin. He's in Nuggets group, my group, and Carl's group. He actually caught up with us in Bali last year. Amazing dude, man. Very genuine. So check it out. Moving forward, all right. So once you've logged the data, then you can rinse repeat. So your trading strategy allows you to get into a trade. The log allows you to audit your trades, and the technical analysis allows you to map the trade, right? So moving on to this. I wrote this for my Discord, the private Discord. You guys are all in there at the moment. So if you went exploring, some of you may have found this already. Massive document, and it pretty much covers everything. And from my point of view about cryptocurrency markets, there's no pretty pictures, so a little bit of reading. I'll just show you the index really. So it's pretty much just the tools of the trade, which we've covered in real basic in this. Daily routine. From a human point of view, I've written this for people who, everyday people. This is not to try and impress some Wall Street guru. This is everyday people reading this. And I wrote it for everyday people. So maybe a bit casual, a bit relaxed, but it is for you guys. So I'll just get a link in the chat for this as well. It'll go out in the email anyway. But if you guys want quick copy link, here we go. Just throw that in the chat there. This is to this document here. Covers technical analysis, trading strategy, risk management, psychology, everything it covers here. Quite a few hours went into building this, so definitely take the time to consume it. And just remember, it wasn't written for Wall Street gurus. It was written for mums and dads, right? So it's made to relate to you instead of market lingo or to scare the crap out of you. More of a keep it real approach. So check it out. All right. Other than that, I think that's pretty much all I wanted to cover. It was just pretty much an overlay. So journal your trades, right? Then rinse, repeat. Step 1, technical analysis. Step 2, trading strategy. And then step 3, log the data. Rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. I'll let Kyle go over what he wants to cover shortly. And I might just cover real quickly. Link to me. I think Travis might have a YouTube link. He's just harassed me. Someone must have harassed him already. I don't use them, Sam, unless I'm already well in profit. It's gone beyond my target, and I'm going to bed or have to leave the computer, right? Because usually I look for an exit candle, just like we look for entry candles. So if I see a pin bar reversal at the top of a rally, then I usually take profit, and that's exactly what I did this morning on IOTA. So if I'm going to be going away from the computer, I'm already in profit, then I would turn that on just to try and get every last cent I could out of that trade. But I don't use it once the trade's open. The invalidation point should stay where it is, and that should play out. If you're constantly moving your stop loss to break even, and then you get stopped out at break even, that's not trading. That's not trading. That's paying tax for no reason, right? Because that's the taxable events. You really want your trade plans to incorporate the losses aren't a bad thing, and it's okay to get stopped. If you're constantly getting stopped out at break even, you brought support, right? So why are you selling it? Because if you break even, that means you're exiting on support. Does that make sense? I'll show you on a chart real quick. This might make a lot of sense for a lot of people. Real quick, we'll go to a chart here. This one will be fine. Cool. So let's get away from that crazy bullshit behavior. And let's say, for instance, we entered this chart here. We're going to take an entry on this candle here, right? And then it moved up. We're on 100 times leverage, so we're a bit scary, right? As we're already 100% or 200% up in this little move, right? We're like, all right, we'll take our stop loss to break even. So we entered on support here, right? And now we moved our stop loss to support. So we're going to break even if it comes back down. Next candle comes straight back down, takes out our stop loss, and then goes and does what would have been on 100 times leverage, right? A lot, 400%. So if you enter on support, why are you selling support? Does that make sense? Why would you still support if price retraces back to a point where it's been holding the entire time? Why would you have your stop loss here? You know what I mean? So moving your stop loss to break even, there's a time and place for it. There's a time and place for it, right? I'm not saying don't do it, but there's a time and place for it because If you're buying support, why are you selling it? You just completely contradicted your previous argument by moving your stop loss, which is a bit shitty sometimes because you do get stopped, and sometimes you get stopped a few times in a row. But that's the market, right? That's why it's statistics. That's why the casino lets people come in and clean them out, because at the end of the day, they're still going to be well ahead, right? So just take that same approach to trading. There's a link there in the chat from Trader Travis. That's a link to YouTube with a guide on his journal. Cool, cool, cool. Any questions you guys want to wrap up before I pass over to Kyle? Because we're pretty much wrapping up the webinar here. This is more of just a wrap up. I think with the videos for a reference point, a journal here for as a reference point if you want to make your own. Just a wrap up of everything we've covered and what's important, right? And then this massive, massive guide here should really help you guys get into the mindset of a trader, right? I don't want to, this is not me gloating here. I've had a few losses lately, right? But they've been very minimal. And I've had 2 wins this week while I've been crook, as you guys can see in my Discord. And I think I made just over $6,500 in 2 trades over like 5 days. That's more than most people make in a month, and I've done that while sick. So if you really take this game seriously, right, you can start to turn over some real profit, and you don't have to break your back working for some other flog. I'm not saying go all in balls deep ASAP. It's going to take you a few years to learn a lot of the ins and outs of trading. But if you do take it seriously, there is a possibility that some of you could replace your day jobs if that's what you wanted, right? The 2 trades that I did take are in the Discord. All the details are on there, so definitely not talking up my ass here. But it's a bit of cash, right, just to pull in while you're sick in bed. So start taking it seriously, guys. It's not a moon Lambo place. There were $50,000 positions, Davey. I've just got to check it out. I'll just run the screen real quick. I don't want to go too far into it all, but so the people who join the Discord, right? There's a free FTX channel. If you want in, come in here and drop your FTX link. I'll then go and add you, right? You now have access to a bunch more channels, and I'll do that for the next guy as well. Kyle has this on his Discord as well. It's for the entire August. Because we are sponsored doing this, they've already paid us, so you guys don't have to. By joining mine, you get this section, right? You'll get this section here, and you'll get the education section down here, right? But hopefully these videos should be enough. Check them out. Definitely take your time to go for each of these channels. I'd probably recommend this one over most else, right? After August, just harass me on Discord, dude. Dude, my equity curve has been out of control. I got really lucky in 2017, dude. Well, not really lucky, but I paid attention in 2017. I put money in the right places at the right time, and it just got out of control. So my equity curve is just fucking stupid. Because I had to click very quickly. I was lucky enough to understand there were patterns within it before I realized technical analysis was actually a process to approaching the market.
Got that autistic brain, just
Yeah,
picks
I got that.
it
Yeah,
up.
that's the nicest, easiest way to say it. There's a bit of autism going on, and I realized pretty quickly that these percentages aren't just happening because mums and dads are buying and selling when they please, right? There are market makers, which was very clear. There's certain levels that get held and respected, and when you see a candle like this form, a nice pin bar that came down and swept the low, it's very easy to pick up early on. That was the bottom of a trend, right? And it would go up from that point onwards, just like this one here, right? Goes up from that point onwards. So if this locks in here in 23 minutes like that, long boys, stop loss under the low, and thank you, see you later. Easy trade. It can be that simple, right? Just an example, where are you? NZR. So when I first got into this market, $800 was quite a lot to me. I didn't have a lot of spare capital to be throwing around on a highly speculative market. So $800 went into what I thought was a good investment at the time, which was a shitcoin called ANS. Some of you guys might know it now as Neo. And I got that at $2, and I let that ride to 80. So $800 came about $32,000 in about the first 3 weeks of my crypto career, and then since then it's just spiraled out of control. So and that was before the parabolic run. So I got really lucky because I sold the top as well, as most people know, because of just a bit of 1+1. Now the market's bullish. I only want to be looking for long trades, ideally. I don't think you can argue this Bitcoin monthly close. Right? I don't know if you can argue this anymore. I don't know what the bears really have unless we close back below that. There's many exchanges that now offer 100 times leverage. I don't recommend it for newbies. Stay to spot or up to maybe 5 times max. You want to get your
FTX, mate.
Yeah, FTX. You want to be getting consistency first before you even look at leverage. Leverage, all it does is makes up for the lack of capital. All right. So if you want to trade with a larger position, leverage allows that, but it also brings that stop loss right up because of the liquidation potential. Right. So just keep that in mind. High leverage is not for new people. If you want to throw your money away, just send it to me instead. All right. I'll turn it into more for you. All right. I'll pass to you, Kyle. Get stuck into it.
Crazy.
Cool. Just send that through.
All right, guys. So this is what we're going to be going over. It's called the Demon Finder, right? And this is a great little tool that you guys can use to help with your psychology. Because realistically, once you start, getting into the trading strategies that me and Troy taught you guys in the last session, if you didn't tune into the last session, definitely go and watch it. Day 4, we went over my #1 trading strategy, and we went over Troy's #1 trading strategy, which is the ascending triangle. Well, it's probably not Troy's #1, but it's one of the top ones. I'd probably say broadening descending wedge is probably your #1. But everyone should be able to trade an ascending triangle. It's one of the most bullish patterns, and it definitely pumps very consistently. You get a lot of those popping up in the market when the market's going well, right? And we're quite bullish, which is the sort of period that we're moving into at the moment. And then obviously I taught you guys how to trade a swing failure pattern and a bullish divergence, right? So you guys want to go away and if you've never traded those before, start learning those 2 strategies, and then maybe think about doing our 26-hour course and learning some of the other strategies that we trade, or doing somebody else's course and learning some of those strategies. Or if you want to do it on the cheap, you can try and find some on YouTube. But it might be a little bit tougher to get good quality stuff there. And then once you start getting good at trading a specific strategy, what's going to start to happen is you're going to start to make mistakes mainly based on your psychology, and you're going to start to get little things that sort of become bad mistakes that you tend to do over and over and over, right? Everybody sort of has these vices and these bad habits that we get into. So I want to ask you guys in the chat, what is a mistake that you consistently make on the charts that costs you money? What do you think the #1 reason why you lose money in the markets is? Trying to counter trade DAX. All right, we've got some FOMO. We've got some moving stop loss up way too early. All right, so what we're going to do here, right? So this is the Demon Finder, and we've got our sins, right? So up the top, we've got the sin numbers. How many times have you done that? And so it obviously goes 1 up to 9. If you get up to 10, it means stop trading and slap yourself and send your Bitcoin to me and Troy, because you're either going to lose it on the market and you may as well give it to us. Right, so what other people say? Not using all indicators, no trade plan, no taking profit, second guessing, hesitation is definitely a big one, position size far too big, so no, not using correct position size, right? So what we can do is we can put all of these in. So what we're going to do, we're going to put FOMO in here, right? Or chasing. right? So if we're chasing the market consistently, right, and that's probably going to come under over didn't take planned trade or not in trading plan, right? So what we'll do is we'll give ourselves a little X there because we're just taking a FOMO, which I don't know about your trading plan, but it definitely shouldn't have chased the market after it's already broken out in it, right? So it's going to come under, for me, it's going to come under not in trading plan, but you might want to do a FOMO one here as well, right? I'm going to put an X into this. All right, and eventually what's going to happen is you're going to start to fill this out, and you'd be surprised by having the weight, and it's sort of like you sort of end up basically shaming yourself, right? And it just feels so shit when you do something dumb and you've got to open up the demon finder. And honestly, you should already be open. If you're using it to teach yourself to correct a bad habit, you should have it open in the background behind all your other charts and everything like that. And as soon as you make a mistake, open it up and you put it in here, and it will start to correct your behavior very, very quickly. I believe that this is one of the best trading tools for psychology that I've seen in a long, long time. And it will change your habits very, very fast. And if you get up to 10, you make the same mistake 10 times in a row, yeah, there's something wrong with your mind, right? You should definitely, by about 5, you should start to break those bad habits. So for me, one that I was always doing is I was always buying breakouts, right? And so buying breakouts I had identified was the #1 way that I was losing money. And you can also use these sort of things like, your trade journal and stuff like that. So let's just say you're doing analysis of your trade journal, and you can see that the #1 reason why you're losing capital at the moment is that you're buying breakouts, and you buy breakouts and it pulls back and you get caught in SFP or something like that quite consistently, and then you might stop out below resistance, and then the market ends up breaking out, going in the direction you thought it was going to, but you didn't get on the trade, right? So you'd come back here, you'd open up the demon finder, and you'd start to fill that out and put in buy and breakout, right? You can even take a little bit of a log. If you're not using a trading journal, you can use this as a trading journal, and you can just create it and put it underneath the demon finder, right? So you can just put in here, reason for trade, right? Your trading journal doesn't have to be super high tech. You can put in a link here to the trade to see it, result, right? Percentage gain, all that sort of stuff, right? And you're just using a little bit of data, and this can actually really, really quickly change your patterns of behavior and fill those holes in the bucket. Because a lot of the time, the main reason why people lose money in these markets is because they just do dumb shit, right? And so this is such an effective tool because it stops you very quickly from doing the dumb things that are losing us money. Because a lot of time what will happen is, we might take a really good trade and, you might make like half a Bitcoin, or, maybe you make like a 0.1, right? Let's just say that's like $1,000, right? You might make $1,000 off a really good trade. But then you might get stopped out or do all these dumb things like 4 or 5 times. And, you end up giving back more than half of that to the market before you get a next winning trade, right? So using this will help to eliminate more and more of those losing trades, those silly trades that, are losing your money and just leaking money from your account. And you will start to see your account start to shift into a more positive yield curve quite fast after implementing this. So highly recommend using it. It's such an easy tool to use. It's so basic. And I think that's why it works so well. Because it's so basic and so easy to use, anyone can literally just jump on and start using it. So any questions about this, guys? We can do another one, changing stop loss, right? So I just put like this in here, changing stop loss. Then every time I got hit with a stop, right, after changing my stop loss, I'll just put it in here as an X, right? And that's going to, eventually they're going to add up. And if I get too many of these in a row, I have to stop trading for the day and, take the day off, go do something else and come back, right? And you definitely don't want to be getting like these in a week or anything like that as well. But if you're starting to max out any of these, you need to be really seriously considering, the reason why you're continuing to make the same mistake over and over and over again. And maybe it might be something that's going on in your personal life or something like that. and you need to take a day or two off trading, right? So keep that in mind. I think this is an awesome tool. I'll put this up in the Discord groups for everybody to start using. Heaps of guys have used it so far in the various groups and gotten some really good info from it. So that's pretty much it for me tonight. I think the rest of tonight, we're going to just look at different trades and a few different setups. So Troy, do you want to have a quick look at a few things, or I can jump on first and we'll go over? Is there any requests from the chat group of what you guys might want us to look at? If you can maybe put those in the Q&A. And Troy, maybe we can go over your XTZ 3X trade actually, and you can show the guys how to use that actually on exchange. We can take a look at using some of the bull tokens and stuff like that.
Right.
All right, so obviously we're looking at this XTZ trade. This is a low time frame, so we're starting to chop around a little bit on the BTC pair, but I think this is probably going to come up and test. We'll see it test this level through here first. We'll see what it does around there before it gets going. So it might have a little bit of a sideways action like that, right? Could see something like this before the next move up, or could even be a more violent pullback. And obviously watch for Bitcoin's move, because if Bitcoin pulls back, we might end up seeing something like this. But we definitely want to be looking for some sort of a flag pattern on that. And that'll be a really nice one to help the US dollar version, US dollar market break out and head to this $4 mark. So it's probably the main trade I'm focusing on at the moment. Link, I think, we've sort of missed that one. I think the pullback for Link, was the bull div back down here. So that's ended up playing out really, really nicely. So these are the sort of trades I really like taking, getting that 4-hour divergence after a big pullback like this. I did actually enter the XTZ one, which was down here. I think that was probably a better entry, but when Bitcoin started really going crazy, I just wanted to protect capital over the weekend. And I got out of this trade because I was just a bit concerned it might break down and didn't want to take that. Realistically, what I should have done was just put my stop loss in here and taken the hit if it broke down. So that's one for me to fill out in the Demon Finder, because it is something that I do probably a little bit too often. And it's an easy trap to get caught into, because every now and then you will do it and it will save you from getting stopped out and losing the trade. And so you'll be like, oh yeah, I saved X amount on that. But this is actually a great trade setup, and I sort of just psyched myself out because I saw Bitcoin going over 12,000 and ETH going over 400, and I was like, holy fuck, if this thing goes to 13 or 13.6 or something like that, all the BTC pairs might nuke again, and I'd rather be out of it. I didn't actually re-enter this trade. So that was a little bit of a mistake from me, because after we got back above the support level, so the resistance level turned support, here, I should have re-entered this trade throughout here, but I sort of had missed it, and it was up here when I looked next time I looked at the market, and I just let it get away from me. But we can't get them all, and I was a little bit more protectionist over the weekend, so missed this one. But I'm looking to get into a position again on spot, so I'm waiting for something like some sort of a bull flag. Hopefully, and I'll be able to get a position in there. One of the tricks that I use for that works really, really well is the stochastic RSI. Now, in my section last week, we talked about RSI, right? Which is using this indicator, which is the market mastery divergence. You guys can hit up Troy and give him your link, and he will shoot you the indicator across, or you can use the other one, which is publicly available, which is the Libertas RSI, and it actually highlights where the RSIs are. So the blue points are the pivots, and that's just signaling where a low is. And then from there, you have the green dots that pop up, the green arrows, and they're showing you where the bullish divergences are, right? So the divergence is when we have a price going down, right? So price makes a lower low, and then the indicator we can see here is going up, right? So when our price swinging lower here, we had a price swinging lower through here, and we had the indicator trending up, right? So the indicator is going like this, so it's coming down, right? And at the same point, it's going up, right? So price going down, indicator going up. Right, so that's what we covered off last week. And so what we're looking at here is the stochastic RSI. Now, the stochastic RSI is a stochastic, which actually takes an average of the last 14 candles, but this is going to put it over the last 14 periods of the RSI, right? And I've just found over time, and this works really well on Bitcoin as well, that this when this fluctuates, it gives you really good entries on when the price is going to start trending back up, and we can enter into the market based on when the 4-hour pulls back and gets ready to move back up. So looking at this graph down here, right? And now the same as the RSI, when we're above the purple band, right? Through here in this black space up here, that means that the market is currently overbought, right? So when it's overbought, it's actually showing us that there's a lot of strength because we've been moving up for a long time. So it can also be an indication that the market is at maximum point of strength, right? But after it's been up here for a fair amount of time, eventually it's going to swing back low, because we all know that whenever markets move, they push and then they pull back, and then they push again and then they pull back, right? And we're going to see that oscillation on this graph here, right? Now, when we're underneath the purple band throughout here, right, this is when it's oversold, right? And this is where we want to be looking to get in. Now, we don't want to be looking to get in just as soon as it breaks down below. We want to be looking to get in when price has been playing down here for a little while, right? So prices come back down and we're doing this sideways, maybe one or two ups and downs, and we break back in into the purple band, which is the regular trading range, and we're looking bullish and we're starting to head back up, right? And now using this on the 4-hour time frame can give us really good entries, and it can help us from stopping to chase the market, right? Which is one of the biggest mistakes that traders get into, and they get into the market late instead of early, right? So you can line this up, for example, you can use it. Didn't really give us a great one here because we've already started to push, right? And what I find is usually it's really great for catching a trade mid-trend. So it's a really good mid-trend setup as well, right? So there's actually a really good example on this falling wedge here, right? We can see that price had pushed up throughout here, right? And we'd started to move up and have a really strong rally. And then when we started to pull back down, we can see that the stochastic RSI has pulled from the overbought range, right, into the oversold range. Now, as we're coming back out of the oversold range and we're going to rally again, we can see that's when we're breaking out of the falling wedge, right? We can see that we have our blue line. Doesn't look that good here. I'll try and maximize this a little bit more. We'll get it up the top. Right? So we can see here, our blue line, which is our lead line, when that's in front or on top and moving up ahead of the orange line, right? That means that, we're getting ready to swing back higher, and we call that a bullish crossover, and we're getting ready to break back into above the 20 zone, which is back in the purple trading range, and that's indicating that we're going to start moving up, right? So when we can match this up with something like our 4-hour falling wedge, gives us a good indication that's when we want to be getting into the market for an entry, right? So you can see that this matches up perfectly on the exact same candle. We break out of oversold as we break up. So we can use that to get into the trade, right? And our trade will look something like this, right? We'd get in here, right? And stop loss would be below here, right? And maybe this might be mid close or throughout here, or, we're getting in somewhere in the sideways action through here on that pullback. If you really had missed it and we got in super late, right? And then we would just be looking for the first level of resistance, right? Which is going to be up here, which would have been connected the top here, connecting the top here with this point here, right? So we'd be looking probably around that level there, and that'd be a pretty nice trade, right? So expecting something similar to play out here, and I'll be using the stochastic RSI once that's come back down, right? I'll be looking for that to help me get into this trade when we break out. So it's a really helpful tool to use to get in, especially on the 4-hour, to get into a pump if you didn't get the very, very bottom. So that's one thing that I'm going to be looking for to get long for the next move up. Right? Any questions on that, guys? $34 new messages. We're watching past data when running live. Are the indicators behind and how much by, e.g. indicator adjusting as more data comes in? So the way that it works, yeah, it obviously takes indication of previous data, right? But it's giving us an indication of what's going to happen next, especially with the RSI, right? The RSI tends to be one that actually leads price. So when the RSI is going in one direction, price is going in the other direction, it's a strong indication that the price is actually about to flip and move in the other direction. So the RSI actually measures the size of the candles from open to close and how big they are. And so when the up candles are bigger than the down candles in the last 14 candles, the RSI is going to start to move to upside. And that can be a really good indication of a potential change in the trend is going to come. All right, XRP or Link. XRP is actually getting really interesting at the moment. Bitcoin chart. We need Polo. What's going on here? And so far, it's following my line. I mean, I don't even know when I drew this, but it was a little while ago. We had that big falling wedge. I actually didn't trade this. I mean, there's been so many trades to take recently, and this is just one that I didn't take. But it looks like it's played out quite nicely after a bit of a fake out. And then reclaimed. So this is a really good example, guys, of a breakout of a nice pattern. So this is multi-touch trend line, right? And we've actually broken out. It looked quite bullish, right? There would have been a lot of people that would have jumped in here, and they obviously got washed out by the throwback that would have just absolutely annihilated them. But then when you come back out, so you have a breakout here, a throwback here, and then you have a retest here. So this candle here, these are the sort of trade setups I love taking because there's just the probability of them the second time that it's broken out of the same pattern, that's going to continue on in that direction is extremely high because you've already had the fake out one time. So it's already washed out all those late longers. And then there obviously would have been more people that reaccumulated to push it back out throughout there. So it's really healthy when that happens. And so you're getting into the trade, even if you missed on that candle, anywhere throughout this area here is still a nice sort of setup. So that's looking good. Expecting it probably to, yeah, like my arrows sort of say, is to pull back, maybe retest this level through here, which is, I think it's like the daily low back in August last year, right? Might retest that and then push a little bit higher. I'm not like super excited just yet about XRP, but I think if you've just gotten into the trade, you're probably not in a horrific position, right? On the daily chart, still looking like this big falling wedge, and we're just getting above the resistance at the moment. So looking pretty interesting. Maybe it might grind down like that for a little bit, do something similar to this. You might get like a falling wedge type setup off that. But this would be one as well. It's pretty highly overbought. XRP can just, continuously pump, but I'm not sure what's going to do. I'm not sure it's that bullish just yet. If it gets above, I need to get up on Polo. I think Bitcoin will probably outperform it still for a while. What do we got here? So we never really broke down below this low. Right, there's key level through here, multiple touch points. I'm probably just going to take this to be an order block. Right, and I think once we get above this level is when it's going to start to get bullish. So it might fuck around for a little bit longer. I think once we flip this, that is when you're going to see the price action start to get really juicy. So I'll be watching for it to get above 4,135 sats. That I think that's the area for XRP that you want to be getting long in. And if you really love XRP, it's not the worst time in the world to be starting to get some smallish bags starting to build up, I guess, as well. So yeah, that is XRP for me. We can look at the USD pair as well quickly. Right, we just had a pretty bullish breakout from back here. It's looking all right. It's looking all right. I've seen worse charts before in my time, but might start getting a bit of attention. I'll be watching for it on the Bitcoin chart first, because I'd much rather have my capital in Bitcoin right now than in XRP. But I think a break above this new high, and that could be starting to put in, this is a new higher low here, right? If we can put in a new high, then a new higher low, do something like this, and then a new high again, it could really start to get the momentum starting to lift again. So that's what I'm going to be watching for XRP. Bitcoin head and shoulder for me on the 8 hour. 8 hours not really one that I look at, to be honest. Gold is actually starting to sell off. So this is one I was expecting. It was looking like it wanted to bounce, but it's breaking down below the key level. And it's going to be interesting to see if this ends up closing as a bull hammer. So if we get a square body like this with a tail below the key level, this might end up breaking to the upside anyway. But it's starting to look a little bit uglier now. This trend line possibly going to save it. But yeah, it's starting to reach a little bit more, that's for sure. Let's see what the New York market does tonight on open. I think that's the key one you have to watch for gold before you can really make decisions based on price action. Because a lot of the action actually happens when the price action happens. Okay, well, let's have a look at Bitcoin. I mean, it's just like chopping around. I thought I was going to try and put in this inverse head and shoulders here, but it's looking a little bit ugly at the moment. What do we got on the 1 hour? Was looking like we might get a bit of a bull hammer. What was it on the 30-minute? But it hasn't really closed that well. I think with Bitcoin, we might possibly see the rest of our indicators come back down, and we might have to wait for that to get a full reset before the next push. Wouldn't 100% surprise me. All right, let's try and get the Q&A up. ADA USD. Looking industry. Binance, not really the best one. Where can we go to get? Oh no, that's 2018. It's not the worst. All right, let's chart this guy up. It's pretty big for it to be sitting above this, to be honest. Let's have a look. This is a nice SR flip here. Fairly overbought. I just be careful on this that it doesn't end up, putting in a head and shoulders here and going like that, right? Which then probably end up doing something pretty nasty. Yeah, this was last year where Bitcoin was bleeding out pretty badly throughout here. So a lot of it, obviously, on the USD pairs really does depend on Bitcoin. Obviously, they just had their the new exchange and a new roadmap and everything like that get released as well. So not entirely sold that this is 100% still bullish, but that structure is not amazing, but it might just be building something else that we can't quite see yet. It might be doing a falling wedge or something. So not 100% sold on ADA. We'll go take a look at the BTC pair because that's where more of the action is anyway. And I mean, look, you can't be, I don't think you can be that bearish on it while it's still holding this level here. Possibly as an entry at the moment because it had a decent pullback to this level. But I think if we lose this level here, it might get a little bit ugly. But ultimately, like if Bitcoin continues to push really hard, like it's going to drag up all the altcoins, right? On the USD pairs. So yeah. All right. Any that you want to look at, Troy?
Yeah, I can go through it, man. I can go for a fair few. If you guys want to keep throwing requests, I'll keep just charting if you want. In the next half an hour free. Wrap up recording whenever you want.
How's it looking for AUD domestic transfers? I think that might have been a question for Sam. We don't have that 100% just yet, but I think they're working
They
on
are
it.
bringing it, yeah. I mean, they acquired or acquiring one of the two, an Australian OTC desk. So once that's happened, we'll have all AUD in and off, in and out, nice, clean, quick, and easy.
Right, so
That'll be really
LTC obviously had that nice rally the other day. It's still lagging behind Bitcoin. I wouldn't want to be holding capital in Litecoin instead of Bitcoin. It is at a resistance at the moment. It might take a little bit of time for that to get through. Oversold, indicators aren't looking that good for continuation, but it might just be like one stage behind and it's going to put in a bull flag here. So people that love LTC, you'd be looking for it to do something like that, I would say. I think the other one was Link USD. It's hard to, it's hard for Link, we just missed the entry the other day, right? Well, like Bitcoin was sort of pumping really hard. So, we're focusing on margin trading that and sort of missed this one, but could have caught the throwback over the weekend when we had that huge dump off. Wouldn't have been a bad entry, to be honest. But it's still obviously still really bullish. You can't say anything bad about Link. I think it's going to go much higher. Just wait for the next entry setup. Wait for your momentum indicators like your RSI, stochastics RSI to get a full reset and go from there. Yeah. I mean, the entry on Link was realistically here, right? So I don't like to try and chat. Like for me, you're getting in here up market. It just gives you so much exposure for the downside. Like I'd rather just hold money in Bitcoin. I could wait for like the next bull flag to play out like this, right? And if I got something like this in combination with a reset of my momentum indicator, like you've got a stochastics RSI reset, that could give me, an indication that we could be ready to go again. Right, so here's a good example down here, right? Stochastic starts to push again and gets you in pretty early, probably almost too early in this one, for example. We also got the 4-hour bullish divergence here, which would have been more your trigger, and that got you in right here. So those are the ones to look for, that's for sure. Right, I'll handball across to you, Troy, and you can go check a few out.
Sweet. Share screen 4, we're over here.
Someone's asking if stochastic RSI is different to stochastic. Yes. So I'm not sure what platform you're on, but IG Markets. Yeah, definitely get onto TradingView rather than using IG Markets for the charting. The charts I don't find are really the same level. I find TradingView just has so much more. It's just so much better because TradingView, all they focus on is the chart, right? So. Yeah, but basically, stochastic RSI is a stochastic of the RSI. So stochastic is usually just taken from price. So they're going to give you different readings, and the stochastic is a lot slower. So it's not going to give you. It's not the same edge if that makes sense. Up to you, Troy.
Sweet as guys. All right, I'll get up a new chart, and we will go to town. Some alts. Feel free to wrap up the recording if you want, Kyle.